Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Todd Chrisley worried about Julie's health amid devastating news. Todd Chrisley is worried about Julie Chrisley's health after receiving devastating news. His attorney spoke on behalf of Todd. Julie's family is also worried about her. The two are currently in federal prison for tax evasion and fraud. They are both serving time for their crime. Keep reading to find out more about this. Julie Chrisley and her resentencing hearing. Julie Chrisley was granted a resentencing hearing. The court did not feel as though they had gathered enough evidence to sentence her. However, a lot happened during this hearing. Julie requested to attend the hearing over Zoom, so she did not have to travel that far. That request was denied along with a request to wear street clothes during court and a 24-hour furlough. Julie was ultimately sentenced to the same 84 months that she originally received. This was heartbreaking for her children and family. Todd Chrisley is worried for his wife. Todd Chrisley is now worried for his wife. After she received the devastating news that she would not get her sentence shortened, he spoke out about and said he was concerned about Julie's health and welfare. They did not go into detail about the worries for her health. However, earlier this year, Savannah revealed that her mother may have a tumor. This could be what Todd was talking about. However, it is unknown if something more happened that others are unaware of. Regardless, Savannah has made it a point that she is going to keep trying to get her mother's freedom. It seems that Julie may have a tumor or something else wrong with her. This is scary for someone to go through in general, let alone in prison. So after hearing that Julie will not be released any earlier, Todd is concerned for his wife. Some people do believe this was all Todd's doing and Julie had no idea what she was signing. Todd Chrisley had always projected an image of glitz and control, designer suits, carefully styled hair, quick wit, and quicker comebacks. But behind the bravado, especially now behind prison walls, he was a man crumbling under the weight of devastating news that had nothing to do with appeals or court dates. This time, his concern wasn't for himself or the family name. It was for Julie. Julie Chrisley, once the backbone of their high-gloss Southern empire, was quietly fighting a health battle that few knew about. Rumors had been swirling for weeks, whispered in prison corridors, and murmured between guarded phone calls. But when Todd finally received confirmation, a short, sterile medical summary from Julie's legal team, his carefully built composure cracked like antique porcelain. Her health had taken a turn. It wasn't just stress or poor diet. It was serious. Inside the walls of FPC Pensacola, Todd paced the small recreation area, eyes darting, lips pressed tight. The loud clang of a microwave heating up instant ramen faded into the background. His mind was in Kentucky, where Julie was housed. He imagined her frailer than usual, maybe curled on her cot, trying to keep the pain from showing. The thought stabbed at him like a cold needle. He was used to being the protector, the one to talk things out, to fix it. But now, all he had was distance. "I need to talk to someone," he finally snapped, slamming his hand against the front desk of the prison office. His counselor gave him a tired look. "Todd, we've gone over this. You can't just—" "She's sick," he said, voice cracking. "And not like a cold. This is real. And I'm stuck here like some useless." The counselor held up a hand. "You can request another legal phone call, but it'll have to go through approval." Todd nodded, jaw clenched. He didn't care if it took hours. Back in her own facility, Julie sat in the small infirmary waiting room, a thin blanket draped over her shoulders. Her cheeks were pale, and the sparkle that once made her the calm center of the Chrisley chaos had dimmed. The diagnosis was still preliminary, but there was talk of internal bleeding, possibly ulcers, and concerns about her liver. Years of stress, Courtrooms, prison transitions, the weight of being separated from her children had taken a toll on her physically and emotionally. What hurt more than the pain was the thought of Todd worrying. He didn't know how to sit still in grief. He'd spiral. Julie closed her eyes and prayed, not for herself, but for him. She pictured Grayson's last visit, how he tried to smile through it. She remembered Savannah's tear-streaked face the day they were sentenced. And she remembered Todd, holding her hand, whispering, "We'll get through this, baby," before the marshals took them away. Now she wasn't so sure. When Todd finally connected on the authorized phone call, it was Savannah who answered. "Dad." He heard the weariness in her voice. "What's going on with your mother?" he asked immediately. "I need the truth. No spin." Savannah hesitated. "Savannah," he warned. "She's not well," she whispered. "They think her liver enzymes are elevated. She's having trouble keeping food down. They've done some scans, but it's not looking great. She's exhausted, Dad, and scared." Todd's knees went weak. He collapsed into the corner of the room, clutching the receiver tighter. "No one told me how bad it got." "She didn't want you to know. She said worrying about her would tear you up." "She's right. It is." There was a pause, a quiet breath between father and daughter, the kind of silence that screamed louder than any sob. "You need to get better," Savannah said finally. "For her. For us." Todd nodded, even though she couldn't see him. He had to be strong, but strength felt like a distant memory. Later that night, Todd sat on his cot, holding a makeshift journal fashioned from scrap paper. He'd written letters to Julie every day since the diagnosis. Some he mailed, others he just kept, confessions of love, regret, and fear. "Julie," he whispered aloud, "I'd trade places with you in a heartbeat." He remembered the day they renewed their vows for TV, cameras catching every loving glance. He remembered how her laughter filled a room, how she always made the hard days a little softer. And now she was alone in a sterile cell with pain that even he couldn't joke away. He pressed a hand over his heart. "We were supposed to grow old together," he murmured. "We were supposed to sit on a porch swing in Nashville, argue about grandkids, and how you still make better banana pudding than anyone alive. Not this, not like this." For the first time in months, Todd wept without shame. Not because of court rulings. Not because of losing his show, his house, or his freedom. But because he might lose her. Julie received one of his letters 3 days later. The edges were bent, the ink a little smudged. But his words, scrawled in all caps in heartbreak, cut through her fog of fatigue. "You're the strongest woman I've ever known. But even warriors need rest. And when you're weak, I'll be strong. When you cry, I'll cry with you. But don't give up on us, Jules. I'm still holding our love in my hands, even from behind bars." She folded the paper against her chest and let herself cry for the first time in weeks. Not from pain, not from exhaustion, but from being reminded that somewhere, no matter how far, she was still loved, still needed, and perhaps still strong enough to fight. Behind bars, their story was no longer about image or fame. It was about survival, devotion, and how even in their darkest hour, Todd and Julie Chrisley remained tethered to each other by a love the world couldn't imprison.